Hi everybody and welcome to the road to Knoxville on Speed Stories. When you come to Knoxville, it's easy to think it's just a raceway, but there's a town, and a very beautiful little town at that. And when you come to the square, you see this. Now that is one impressive building. That is the courthouse. It's a good spot to be here for photos outside, not necessarily a good spot to stay inside if you've been a naughty boy or girl. Coming up on today's show, we're going to go back to Oklahoma, to Collinsville, and check out a real live cowboy, Clint Ramsey, his beautiful partner Kimberly Norwood Stewart. We're going to find out about the meatloaf that Garth Brooks had to have, and meet their little boy Carson, who's a pretty BAD 855 little cowboy. We're going to head back to Australia, where there's a New Zealand based outlaw nitro funny car racer. What does he have in common with sprint cars? You might be surprised. And what's the next thing we're going to do, Michael?
Eat food.
We're going to go, that's right, we're going to go back to Kansas City, Missouri, to a place called Arthur Bryant's, which has been open since 1930, and I visited 20 years ago, and the food is just as good now as it was back then. So 20 years ago, I was here in Topeka, Kansas for the World of Outlaws sprint car race on the drag strip. Everybody remembers that. And I was here for Shane Carson's race that week later. But I was in Kansas and I got a taxi driver. I just said, I want the best ribs that you can find or barbecue. And I thought he was going to take me to somewhere that looked like Hooters, you know, polished floorboards, neon and everything everywhere. Well, he brought me here 20 years ago, and I was a little bit terrified. The area looked a bit sketchy, and I was thinking, really? And the taxi driver said, don't worry, sir. I promise you're going to be okay. Well, I came in here. This is Arthur Bryant's, and this is the most amazing barbecue you'll have any time. So if you're ever in Kansas City, Missouri, you should definitely come to Arthur Bryant's. We just had pound of ham, ribs. Dad had burnt ends, it's called burnt ends, and the food is incredible. They just slice it off the bone, pull it out of the fire. What a place, Arthur Bryant's.
That's not how you do it, man.
Y'all get military business.
How's your burnt ends?
Nice.
How's your ham, Michael?
Yeah, good.
Isn't that just epic? Since 1930, this place. I have been waiting to do this forever. Hang out with my old friend. Hanging out with a friend I've known for a long time. Kimberly. See how you see what I did there? I know, I'm smart enough to remember not how to talk like that. And this would be Clint, and this is a bit of a badass cowboy with a, would I call you a badass cowgirl?
Just a badass.
Oh, there you go, just a badass. That's, how could I forget, really? That's so cool catching up with you, Kimberly, in your part of the world, because you came to visit us lots, so it's only fair, right?
That's right.
Yeah. Where are we?
We're in Collinsville, Oklahoma.
And where is that?
Northeastern Oklahoma, just north of Tulsa.
Okay. And have you been born and bred here? Like, where's home for you normally?
Oklahoma is home, but I wasn't born here.
Okay, cool. And you're born and bred here, Clint, right?
No,
You're Illinois.
Yeah.
Now, most people, I wouldn't think the word Illinois would spring to mind when you think of a cowboy, but that's not true, right?
No, it's all across the U.S. here.
Yeah, right. And Carson is absolutely running amok here. Obviously, he's got a bit of energy. Where's he get the energy from, Kimberly?
That would be Clint.
Yeah.
So she just the blame went straight to you then.
Right.
Without seeming really strange, I need to look at your buckle, because that is just so good. World champion. Thank you very much. I'm pretty sure they don't hand them out to anyone, Kimberly.
No, world champions. And that's a 2019 world champion.
Current. The man.
Last Sunday, matter of fact.
Wow. So you did all that for us.
That's right.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Tell me about your man. You're obviously very proud.
Oh, very proud. Well, he's a world champion.
Exactly right. You were proud of him before that, right?
I was.
So explain reining for me, please, Clint, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, it's a Western discipline that we. It's a pattern discipline that we.
Do maneuvers and.
Yeah, there's a range of different techniques and stuff you get judged on, right?
Several disciplines that were scored on in a competition, you know, and of course the most popular ones are the spin and the slide. That's what everybody kind of tracks to.
That's kind of like the freestyle motocross of that sport, because it's pretty cool. Even for someone who doesn't really understand that, when you were spinning, that's pretty amazing. Like, and I was watching him kind of going, that's my man. was I close?
All day, every day.
How big is this sport?
It's huge. It's worldwide.
Yeah.
It's in several countries, and it's big even in Australia, Japan, all over Europe.
In Japan?
Yeah.
And Poland is very big. You spent a lot of time in Poland,
4 years.
right?
Yeah, 4 years over there.
He's competed in the reining in, I think, 8 different countries.
8 countries, yeah.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This sport has taken you all over the world.
All over Europe, for sure.
Yeah. Well, when are you coming to ride in Australia, Clint?
I don't know. I'd like to. So
Surely.
set that up for me.
I know, right?
Let's do that.
We need to make that happen.
Yeah.
All right, my brain's ticking now. We need to make that happen. Here's your little junior cowboy. So you're judged on a number of techniques, and you start with 70 points, I noticed,
70,
right? In the short time I noticed that. And you get points taken off and points...
You can get points added on or taken off, depending on how you do the maneuver.
Okay. And Kimberly was telling me, too, that it takes 3 years to train a horse pretty well to do what you were doing.
It takes at least 2 full years to get one trained and ready to go show.
Yep.
And then, of course, they keep getting better as they get older.
It's really cool to see him up and about and so ornery, because it's been a worrying time for you.
It has been. December 27th, 2018, we found out that he had a 5-centimeter mass on his left temporal lobe, putting pressure on the brainstem.
Wow.
It took us about 3 weeks and many tests to figure out that it was vascular, so he had an aneurysm, not a tumor, and it wasn't cancer, so we were thankful for that.
Yeah.
But only 30 other people recorded have ever had this type of aneurysm, so it's extremely rare.
So this kind of energy right now is a godsend.
It is. It drives us crazy sometimes, but we are so blessed. Yes, he's spoiled. That's
but you would pick this over hospital any day of the week, right?
Every day.
Yeah, and it was really cool too, because you have 2 industries, Kimberly. You have the horse racing industry, the horse riding industry, and you have the racing industry. And everybody was kind of reaching out to you, weren't they?
Yes, they were. It was amazing. We had so much support, and without that support, we never would have got through it.
That's inspiring. So how long have you been doing this for, Clint? This sport, it confuses me, yet it excites me.
I've been doing the reining since 1992.
Okay. Wow. Now, Kimberly sent me a picture randomly. This is the cool bit. There is many of those. See, this is probably the guy that we're going to talk about ringing right now. And she sent me a picture of you doing a slide stop. Is that what they call it? See how good I'm getting at this? You were doing a slide stop, dude. And she said, this is Clint doing a slide stop in Switzerland. And I thought, wow, that's pretty cool. And then she said who owned the venue. Would you like to tell our viewers who owns the venue?
Now that was when I was over in Europe showing horses in Michael Schumacher's ranch. That his wife, she kind of puts on a lot of some shows over there, so that's where that show is at.
Michael Schumacher. I have to say, I nearly fell off the chair when you said that. I'm like, wait, what? How long have you known the Schumachers?
I met them probably in about 2009 or so.
Now, were you a motor racing fan at all when this happened?
No.
Right.
Really, I didn't know much about Michael Schumacher, honestly.
Wow.
I knew who he was, but didn't know that much about him. But I researched it a little afterwards, so.
So you're still obviously very close with Michael's wife, which
I wouldn't say close now, but we were friends while I was over there. But since I've been back, if I see him, I'm friends enough to say hi and talk to him.
A lot closer than we are. Well, not you are, but the rest of us, mere mortals are. When you told me that, I thought, my gosh, what an incredible motor racing connection that is, even in that short sense. How often do you compete and where?
We compete quite a bit around here, but we mostly now stay pretty local. We go to Missouri, it's the surrounding states.
Yeah, right.
We don't typically go that far, but you can go all across the U.S. showing if you'd like. But we typically stay within 200 or 300 miles from home.
Most of the largest reining events are right here in either Oklahoma or Texas.
Yep.
So a lot of the guys from California, Ohio, Pennsylvania are coming here to compete at our derbies and
we don't have to travel far.
Okay.
Everything is close.
Okay.
That's why we moved back to Oklahoma, or why he moved to Oklahoma and I moved back to Oklahoma with Cowboy Couture, our clothing line, and Equine Athletes, our saddle pad line. We're centrally located where all the major shows are, or not all, but most of the major shows are right here in either Oklahoma or Texas. And since my family was here, it just made the most sense to stay in Oklahoma.
Now, for a lot of years, you've been doing motorsport apparel, like team apparel and stuff like that, right? So that's another connection you have to the sprint car world.
Right, absolutely.
And more sort of switching towards the cowboy sort of stuff now?
That's right.
I would imagine that's I mean, just look at the outfit that he's rolling here at the moment. He had the little mini chaps, and what are they called again?
Chinks.
Chinks, that's right. And I did notice that you were right on the spurs, and you were rolling the spurs before Kimberly when I rolled up. I'm like, wow, they really are fully decked out.
Really like
you wear them around all day, right?
That's pretty normal here in Oklahoma.
Is it really?
Yeah, you go about everywhere you go, you're going to see somebody like this here.
Either with spurs or cowboy hat on.
Walmart, McDonald's.
Yeah, well, Walmart, surely that's a little bit different. Where do you go from here with this? I mean, is this something that you'll do for, will you bring him up to do this sort of thing? Like what's...
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I will do it as long as I can. We'll see how long that is.
Do you come from a long line of this? Like, did your father and your father's father?
They raised horses, but they really didn't do much of the showing, especially as they did that before I came around.
Yep.
But, after that, there wasn't much showing, just a lot of raising horses. So, but I've always had horses my whole life.
I'm feeling a little intimidated. He's like a cowboy,
He is. He's a real cowboy.
He's like a real cowboy.
He's a man's man.
Hold on.
Summer in Sydney, Australia will be sweet this Christmas. Get out of the cold, America, and come down under to the 2020 Ultimate Sydney Speed Week and Ultimate Speedway Nationals at Valvoline Raceway, Parramatta. Watch the Big Cat Brad Sweet and Texan Aaron Reitzel, plus several other USA stars take on the Aussies. From December 26 until January 18, we've got more sprint cars, midgets, and late models than you can shake a shrimp at. Can't get there? Get online and watch it live or on demand on clayperview.com.
So Carson, do you have a horse?
Yeah.
Really? One or two horses?
Two.
Two horses? No way, Jose. What are your horses called?
Prince.
Prince, yeah.
And Cisco.
And Cisco? No way. How much do you ride those horses?
And
A little bit.
so little bit.
Little bit. Do you like riding horses?
Yeah.
Do you like my helicopter?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should ask Santa for a drone. Say, Santa Claus, can I have a drone, please?
I have done, please.
See, there you go, it's locked in. Deal's done, apparently. That is very cool. How long has it been since you were in Australia?
Oh gosh, I believe 2006 or 7.
Wow.
Too long.
I know, right?
Too long.
Did you enjoy it down there?
Yes, and I made so many friends. Oh my gosh, I miss everybody.
Yeah.
I would love to go back and see everybody. I stay in touch a little bit on Facebook.
Yep.
Kai, Kai.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have sent packages of I've sent her American food, and she sent me some Australian food sometimes.
Vegemite?
I even have Vegemite.
Did you?
Like he hasn't tried it.
Clint, you cannot be a badass cowboy and not try Vegemite, because I have 2 tubes of it in my bag as well. So, seeing as we've now put him on the spot, can we make him try it?
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Mate, otherwise you have to give me the belt buckle if you don't like it, okay?
All right.
It's really cool to catch up with you. I can't wait to show everyone how you ride. The meatloaf. Please tell everybody the meatloaf story, because you teased me. I can't even remember why we talked about it in Australia.
I don't know either.
I think I mentioned something that probably, and I think we're discussing it somewhere at Whalers or somewhere like that, in Warrnambool or something. And you said that you have a family recipe that's been handed down.
Yes, from my grandmother, my dad's mom.
Yes.
And so my parents went to a church in their small little community, and every third Sunday of the month they would have a big dinner, and everybody would bring food and stuff. So my mom asked me to make my meatloaf for her entire church.
Wow.
Well, I guess it was a big hit. One of the people at her church were good friends with Garth Brooks, and he wanted the recipe.
Just say that again. One of your friends was good friends with Garth Brooks.
Yes.
Right,
They grew up together. They were very good friends and still in contact with each other.
Wow.
So he wanted the recipe, and I said hell no.
You said no directly to him?
I said hell no to a church guy.
Still a badass after all these years. Go on, yeah.
And so anyway, I made a deal with him that I would either give him the recipe or make him meatloaf for the rest of his life if he would introduce me to Garth Brooks, because I was convinced at that time that if I had a few minutes with Garth Brooks, he was going to sponsor Shane's race car.
Oh wow, good thinking.
And so anyway, he was serious, and he brought Garth Brooks to my work, which was in Owasso at the time, and I was out of town racing with Shane at Texas Motor Speedway when that track was still open. And so they decided, since they went to my work and I wasn't there, they would fly to Texas in Garth's plane.
Over here.
Well, then we had these major storms. The races got canceled. They couldn't get out of the airport. So I never met Garth Brooks. He didn't ever sponsor Shane.
He
tried.
He was trying to get to see you twice.
Yes.
And twice it didn't come off.
And I was real popular at work for like 3 days.
You've come so close to greatness. And now look, you're with a world champion, Rainer. So, you know, it's worked out perfectly, right? And I bet you love the meatloaf, right?
Yeah, I do.
Please tell me you love the meatloaf.
Yeah, that's good.
She's been teasing me about this for probably 15 years. No. No, heck no. What do you think I'm here? I mean, I'm here to see you too, Clint. Right? I mean, go.
Here for the meatloaf.
Wow.
I did make some, so I hope it didn't disappoint.
Oh my gosh, I'm sure you're not going. Can we have meatloaf for dinner, please, Carson?
For almost 40 years, Metro Auto Spares has been serving Tasmanians with great parts, at great prices and with great service. This proudly Tasmanian-born and bred business carries nearly 150,000 line items. They've got everything you need to get your pride and joy or your daily driver spick and span or back on the road. They've got the range and they've got the know-how. For all your automotive parts requirements in Devonport and Tassie, contact Danny, Rachel and the team at Metro Auto Spares. You can find them at 11 Wenvo Street or phone 6424 7722. Metro Auto Spares. They're the team that cares.
Race a nitro car is certainly it's the dream that every drag racer wants to strive for it.
Nitro, it's just, you can't go back. It's just, I don't know, it must be the noise, the smell, the power that it actually produces.
Nothing compares to a nitro funny car, not at all.
You want a thrill, that's the thrill for you.
It has the head of flames. They are the fastest, they are the craziest.
Once I'm buckled in there and that body comes down and in my own cocoon, that it's an angry one.
The driver does have a lot to do and a lot to get right.
You punch top gear, it's like, whoa! You know, it just pulls you back in the seat, and once you get in the start line, you get again in top gear.
You can't beat these cars, they've always got your attention, you're always fighting them.
Basically, an Outlaw Nitro Funny Car, if you imagine a car that's designed to do nothing else but accelerate from 0 to 400 kilometres an hour in 5.5 seconds, that's all it is. When you're trying to explain driving a Nitro Funny Car to your average fan or spectator, I guess it's a combination of being shot out of a cannon while you've got your head in a paint shaker, while you're seeing flames coming out of the exhaust pipes going, is this kind of normal? There really is no way to describe it properly, but imagine every sense you've got just in full overload, that's what's going on. After you spend a day racing, you kind of live on it for a week. You don't come down. The adrenaline, the hype, every time you talk about it, you think about it, you just go back to it. And like any race car, you go back and you go, I could have done this better, could have done that better. We should have tried this, wish we could go back and do it again. But the adrenaline just stays there and it kicks in, and the highs just drag you through so much. And then when if you have a low, that one high, that one good pass, that, when you're accelerating from 0 to 100 kilometres an hour in less than a second, you can explain it for a minute. Makes no sense to anyone, but just the feeling, the power, the raw intensity on your body, it's unbelievable. Look, I get ribbed quite a lot because I'm a nana when it comes to driving on the road. Like, I am shocking. I drive so slow, it's not even funny. Which makes no sense, but that's just how I am. When you're a kid, you'd sit in the back seat of mum and dad's car and you're doing it, you think you're pretending you're on the drag strip, but kind of once you've done so many laps as we do, you get to the lights and you're just like everyone else, and I'm normally the guy holding everyone else up. So the Aeroflow Nitro Funny Car series is what I call it the 2020 version of drag racing. You imagine 2020 cricket, there's a place for test match cricket, but the modern day fan wants it run and done in 3 or 4 hours. Aeroflow Nitro Funny Cars is that in drag racing form. So it's short and sharp. The whole event's over in 5 hours. We do, quick turnarounds, fast, side-by-side runs, excitement. It's all about the kids and the families and getting everyone engaged in the whole experience, not just the drag racing fan. Driving a sprint car was one of those bucket list things that I just always wanted to tick off. And thanks to Sammy, his family, and Graham and Wendy, I was lucky enough to do that. And oh man, I loved it. And to this day, I just want to get back in one. Oh, look, to be honest, not much related. I guess probably the only thing that really related was it's got a steering wheel and it's got pedals, and you're sitting in the middle of the car. But not much related. Obviously, turning corners is something you try not to do going down a drag strip. But the car control was quite similar in terms of feeling what the car's doing and trying to understand what the rear tyres are doing. And I guess probably the biggest thing for me driving it is I'm driving around by myself going, what's it going to be like with another 14, 15, 20 of these things all around me? That part was, like, to this day I can't get my head around it. And hopefully we get the chance to do it one day with 20 cars around you, but just loved it.
Will you let Sam drive a Nitro Funny Car? Do you think he'd be any good at it?
Well, he's sitting next to me, so I kind of can't say he'd be no good, to be honest. But no, look, I think it's like anything. You can tell some people are race car drivers, and obviously everyone knows Sammy Walsh and everyone knows he can drive, so I don't think Sammy'd have a problem. I think the first hit of the throttle would, Sammy would know he's alive, but give him a few runs, I reckon he'd be top of the class.
Well, we hope you've enjoyed today's program, The Road to Knoxville, on Speed Stories. And from now on, we are based at Knoxville, and that means we give you daily stories from the Knoxville Nationals and, of course, plenty of cool insights from the land down under as well. Looking forward to catching up with you for tomorrow's program. Have a great night if you're in America, or a great day if you're in Australia. We'll see you for our next episode.